he grabbed my hair again, but even harder, threw me in front of him on the ground, and started closed fist pounding me in the head repeatedly until my ears were ringing. And I started to cry.
That was the CBC week, that was. And oh, how it was! The degree of hypocrisy, false moralism, narcissism and neurosis and sheer stupidity around the Jian Ghomeshi story was and continues to be breathtaking, even by the standards of Canada's chattering classes. Okay, hypocrisy. For several days after the story broke, there were still many people on the political left, there still are some, who refused to believe any of the allegations concerning the former CBC radio star and were writing of their admiration for their little Liberal darling. They insisted that their hero was innocent unless and until proven guilty, which is surely true, but seldom applied the same criteria to his accusers. Suddenly, women were not perennial victims and men not constant brutes. Oh, what a surprise! False moralism? Look, there are enough skeletons in the metaphorical cupboard of the establishment's closet to, well, fill a graveyard. And while they tend to involve infidelity and promiscuity rather than charges of violence and assault, the gulf between public profile and private reality is often, I assure you, staggering. Stupidity? The generally amiable, if lightweight, Elizabeth May, the Green Party politician, epitomised this when she tweeted her defence of Ghomeshi with, "I think Jian is wonderful. Likely TMI, too much information, for an old fogey like me, but his private life is none of our beeswax." Oh, isn't that cuddly? When she was condemned for such an irresponsible comment, she explained that she hadn't read the full story and was in a wretched state because of the terrorist attack on Parliament. I'm not sure which was worse, rushing to defend a comrade, not knowing the alleged facts, or exploiting a national tragedy to excuse her behaviour. Narcissism and neurosis, the self-regard of those who assume they are the arbiters of right thinking and Canadian wisdom has permeated this story. As grimy and I suppose darkly titillating as it might be, it's hardly important to the mass of Canadian people. Yet pathetic comments from cult-like CBC listeners were legion. "I don't know how I can continue without Q and Jian Ghomeshi," said one. And others were initially convinced, this is true, that it was evil Stephen Harper who was responsible for Ghomeini's demise. I mean, good God, there are some broken people out there. The whole bloody thing stinks, it really does. From allegations that an intimidated and sexually harassed young woman at the CBC was abandoned by her employers, to the ludicrous Ghomeshi calling himself a soldier in his fatuous Facebook essay about how much fun sadomasochism was. From Ghomeshi immediately employing a group of highly paid consultants to spin the story, to his suing his beloved CBC, your tax dollars at work, for an impossible $55 million. The two Canadas. First, the nation's collective and empathetic mourning for two murdered soldiers and the dignified, gracious face of a people in grief. Then the redundant, the risible, the self-righteous and the ridiculous, boosting their bank accounts and their egos as they tread through the mud of mediocre celebrity. This is not a great man brought down. This is not Oscar Wilde. This is no great drama. It is a small person in big trouble, a sordid squabble, a jarring squeak from a dark corner. The bubble reputation has burst, and I suspect there is a lot more deflating to come. That was the CBC week that was, and oh, how it was.